This video demonstration will explore typography and how it interacts with each other. And you'll also practice using colors to set that mood or tone for your design. Specifically, you'll be using two different types of fonts, web fonts, including Adobe Typekit and Google Web Fonts, or called Google Fonts. You will include two different lines of text. In this case, I just used a very simple quote. It's a Disney quote where it says, "Don't just fly, soar." You could use a main line could be a company, a product, or a service name. The second line could be a tagline or something that describes the company's purpose, value, or benefits. So however you want to do that is up to you. I thought a simple quote was just cute and easy to work with. So you could definitely pick something else as well. So let's take a look at how the HTML and the CSS will come together for this assignment. I use brackets when I'm using or getting ready to code assignments. So if you open up brackets, and I'm going to do File, New, File, Save As, I created a root directory folder for this typography and color. And I'm going to put everything that I want for this assignment inside of that folder. So index.html, and then I am going to make another new file, and I'm going to save this one. This one's going to be my style sheet. So that's going to go in that same folder. And I have to put in that file extension or else it's not going to recognize it. So for the setup here, I'm going to make sure I'm using HTML5. It's required. And I'm going to do the basic setup. Within my head tags, I'm going to link my style sheet. And don't forget to use those prompts. That's the first thing I'm going to do, and then I'm going to title the page. And that's all inside those head tags. Then I'm going to have my body tag. And I'm going to put in header. And now I'm going to say H1. And this is where I'll put "Don't just fly." And then I'm going to have H2. And I'm going to put soar. And this is just my page. Nothing else. So as you can see in live preview, I have "Don't just fly" and "soar." And you can see that H2 has a smaller font size than H1. And then also the headings always have a margin around them. So this will need to be adjusted. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the CSS itself. So now I'm going to set up my body tag. So I'm going to set up my CSS, and I'm going to give it a background color. And you can pick one, or you can go into Photoshop and you can grab the hexadecimal color that you want. I'm going to put semicolon there. Now it's the H1. And there's a couple of things I want to set up with the H1 is I'm going to put in a font size. And like I said, you will probably adjust these several times to get it the way you want it to look. And then in order to control the space in between, I'm going to go ahead and set the margin to 0 and the padding to 0 as well. And then I'm going to set a line height. And this line height is going to allow me to control the space in between the H1 and the H2. And then I'm going to have my H2 tag. And I'm going to grab all the same stuff here for right now. And I will change the line height but I will also adjust it. One of the things I also want to put on is a text shadow. So if you want to have like a drop shadow, this is how you would do it. And you can adjust these values as well. And then it's going to be black. So you could add it to your H1, you could add it to your H2. It just enhances it a little bit more. Now you can see where this just really is not quite working yet, so I have to adjust that line height at some point. But you can see my drop shadow, and you can see how the font sizes have changed. So this one I might be dropping down or bumping up depending on what size font I actually need. And you can see how just adjusting the line height will also adjust the space in between there. All right, so let's deal with the first one. So I'm gonna Google fonts and hit the first search. And there's so many different Google fonts. So you may spend a fair amount of time just looking along for the font itself. I've already picked mine, so I'm just gonna go ahead and search for it. And then you see this plus button. I'm gonna click on that. And it's going to tell me how to actually put it in to my style sheet. So I like just to do the import, or you can link to the style sheet. Either way works. It's the same. It's going to have the same result. Come up here. And that will put in my Euphoria script. I'm going to come back. I'm going to grab my font family. And I'm going to put that. Actually, the script part is what I want on Soar. So we'll put that right there. And there's Soar. So I know that I want my emphasis to be on Soar, so most likely I'm going to jump up and add more font size there. And then also I need to get this "Don't Just Fly" out of the sky there, so I'm going to actually push that down. So if I go back into the body, I can do margin top, and I can set that to whatever I want, so like 50 pixels. And you can see how that pulls it from the sky. So I might actually want to adjust that just a little bit more, maybe 75. So then I have my font family here, and I'm probably going to actually make it more of the emphasis. There that is. Perfect. All right, so now I need to look at Adobe Typekit. So I'm going to search Adobe Typekit. And I'm going to say get started. And so it's sort of the same thing here. It has a ton of different fonts. Then you activate whatever font you want. So I had a font, in this case of Eloquent. Now I can pick whatever font I want and it can work the same exact way. So if I want, and you can search for them, you can, so maybe I want a sans serif font. So you can pick out what you want. Maybe if you want a script font, sans serif, however you want to look at that. And then I can also search for it. And there's my Eloquent that I want to use. I'm going to go ahead and activate it here. And it will tell me how to actually put that in there. So I'm going to make a new project. I'm going to hit create. And then it's going to tell me I have to link to a style sheet. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to go back. I'm going to link it. Save it. And then I can add whatever one I want. So if I do want to change it out, see how it can give me all of the CSS that I need. So like, let's say I just want this one, and I will come back in here, and that is going to go on my H1. I'm going to save it. So I'm getting close to what I want. So I have don't just fly, soar. So I'm getting really close to what I want this to look like. I want to give my H1 a darker blue color, so I'm going to hit color. I'm going to type that in here. So 0618E, 3E, and that will give it a nice blue color. Then soar, I was going to send to a different color. So more of a tan color, tan yellow color. And I just keep testing these to see, okay, well, hey, I need more space here. I want things to be center aligned. So I want to make my header, I want everything about my header. I'm going to say text align center. And it's starting to come together exactly how I want it to be. Don't just fly, soar. And I meant to say, instead of points, pixels. Because measurement is in pixels. So see how this is all coming together. And then I can just spend some time adjusting the line height, playing with the colors if I don't like the colors. And I actually am not really a big fan of how this came across in small caps. So I probably will come back in here and grab this one. And you can see how easy it is just for it to come together. And then I may adjust the line height a little bit, just depending on how I want this to be laid out. And then I work with the colors. So this is how you can pull together using typography and colors to visually communicate the message that you want to communicate to your audience, depending on what text you're working for. I mean, text can say a lot. It can stand alone without any images itself and still create that visual message that you're intending to send to your audience.